Hey, it's Dr. Lee here with Better Life Research Tips. In this video, I will show you how to use questions to make your presentation more engaging and how to handle difficult questions and have a good Q&A session. First of all, when we prepare our presentations, it is a good idea to use questions to create the outline of our talk. Questions are naturally dialogic, and they directly put us into the conversational mode we need for effective communication. This figure shows the 4 types of questions we should answer based on David Kolb's learning theory. It is a 2x2 matrix defined by 2 dimensions on how people respond and process new information. The vertical dimensions is feel or think. The horizontal dimensions is act or observe. Based on the typical learning style, the audience will start from fear and observe. In this quadrant, the main questions they have is why. Why is this information important to me? Why should I listen? After the why question is answered, they enter quadrant 2, observe and think. They ask the question, what? What are the known facts? What evidence do you have? And next, in quadrant 3, think and act, they ask how. How is it practical? How could I use this new information? And last, in the quadrant 4, act and feel, they ask what if? What if I follow your message? What could be the results? And these are the 4 types of questions audience may have based on David Kolb's learning theory. If we can design our presentation to answer these 4 questions effectively, our presentation will be more powerful. In the previous video, we have talked about the problem, solution, and benefit structure. In fact, the problem section should answer the question why. The benefit section should answer the question what if. We can see that both the problem and the benefit are on the feeling side. So we could include some emotional part in these 2 sections, such as personal stories. The solution section handles the question what and how, and they're all in the thinking part. One common mistake is that we don't answer the why question first, and we directly enter the what question. This is the one way we lose our audience. During the presentation, questions can frequently be used by the speakers to get attention from the audience, to emphasize the key points, to encourage future thoughts, and to control the pace of the presentation. We may ask rhetoric or quick survey questions to get attention from the audience. Before we present a key point, we may ask leading questions to lead the audience towards a particular answer that could be used to emphasize our key point. And after we complete a key section or complex point, we may invite questions by asking, what questions do we have on this section? If we know the audience might have a particular question, we'd better address that question directly. We may say something like, many of you may have the question that, in this way, we engage the audience by telling them, I understand and I care about what you are thinking. And we create more of a natural dialogue with the audience. Questions are not problems. Questions from the audience often means we have engaged the audience and they want to know more. The quantity and quality of the questions we received during or after our talk is actually a measure of how successful is our talk. It demonstrates how well the audience have received our message and how much they are interested to know more. The Q&A session is probably the most important part of a research presentation. It is a golden opportunity for us to connect with our audience. Therefore, we need to be well prepared and get ready for the top questions the audience might ask. In the Q&A session, generally there may be 3 types of hard situations. The first is, it seems nobody wants to ask the first question, and there is an awkward silence. In this case, we want to invite questions, but don't just say, "Is there any questions?" Instead, we can ask, what questions do they have on a specific key point in our talk? We can take this as a chance to re-summarize our key point, and it will also give the audience more time and guiding to prepare their questions. We may also answer some anticipated questions with our prepared answer by saying something like, "I am often asked by the questions that..." The second type of hard situation is that we do not know the answer to the question. In this case, there are 3 things we can do. First, we should be honest and admit we do not know the answer. Second, we should try our best to answer part of the question, or to provide an idea on what the answer might be like. Or we may bridge it to something relevant, providing at least some value to the asker. We may say something like, "I don't have an answer to your question, but a related issue we encountered is that..." And the last, we may also commit to follow up. We may say something like, "I don't have an answer for you right now, but if you leave your contact information, I will follow up and get a good answer to you by tomorrow." Another strategy is to recommend and direct the asker to other experts who may be able to provide an answer. Don't fake an answer or try to conceal the problem we know in our work. If we are open about our difficulties, we may be able to get some useful suggestions from the audience. The third type of hard situation is that we don't understand the question due to difficulties with the language used by the asker. In this case, in addition to politely ask them to rephrase their question, we may try our best to reformulate the question by saying something like, "If I heard you correctly, you are asking, is that right?" If that still doesn't work, we may admit we have difficulties, and we offer to talk with the asker after the presentation when we have more time. When we need more time to think about our answer, there are 2 steps we can do before we answer the question. First, we may compliment the question and thank the asker. Second, we may repeat or paraphrase the question in our own words. But remember, when we compliment the question, we should do it sincerely. Don't always say, "It is a good question," when we obviously don't really think so. We'd better use some variations and provide reasons for our compliments. We may say something like, "This is a very important question because the question shows that," or "That is an interesting question. I never anticipated. I appreciate you provide new source on the problem. And based on my understanding, the question is about..." And then we paraphrase the question to the best of our understanding. Paraphrasing or repeating questions before answering them have many benefits. It not only buys time for us, it is also a chance to reframe the question to make it easier for us to answer and easier for other audience to understand. In some cases, it is a good idea to always repeat the question, no matter we have a ready answer or not for that question. Thus, the audience will not know we may be less confident on some questions. In this way, we look more professional. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Liu with research tips for the underdogs. Q&A can be challenging, but it can also be very rewarding. Until next time, let's get prepared for great Q&A and make our life better.